as I said, the ethnography implies viewed from describing side only, while cultural resources implies they are primarily owned by site people. They are resources for understanding own culture as well as other cultures. And they are also a kind of global commons toward treasury of human wisdoms. We think cultural resources of all the humans became treasures of the human wisdom, the collection of the human wisdoms, all right? And the coverage of the cultural resources are very wide, visible or easy to become visible ones, products, visible, any kind of products, and invisible embodied resources like knowledge, skill, technology, technique, or know-how, or invisible system-like resources, like human network, organization, institution, or concept of intellectual properties, etc. These categories are corresponding to the UNESCO context, like tangible cultural heritage and intangible cultural heritage. So I think it's a very straightforward classification. And this is the flow of cultural resource management. They could be imagined like water from the headwater to the lower stream. The headwater includes the investigation or collection of materials and conservation and documentation and computerization and put to first academic use and put to public use. They are the ranges become wider and wider. Okay, and this kind of forum type collaboration is very effective. For example, shift from exclusive control by specialists to sharing and joint works. As I said, the materials are managed by not only a specialist, but also any kind of person or people. And a change of research ethics. As you know, sometimes researchers in some fields are confine their data objects into their arms and never open, especially in archaeology. Yeah, if there is some person in archaeology, I have to apologize, but yeah, in Japan, some old archaeologist, once he excavates some things with his apprentices, they keep objects in his laboratory, and after they write many papers into the public, until that, they cannot, they didn't open their resources or materials. And the archaeology's world, the master has a very big power over the apprentices. So apprentice cannot, make an opinion against his master. Apprentice must obey the opinion or the principle of the master. So there may be still such kind of bad traditions in archaeology in Japan. But such kind of ethics must be changed. Okay, become much more open. And third point is, third effect is upgrading information through sharing. This is that. We already kept big databases, and many informations are made by the researcher. But even the researcher made mistakes in the fields, all right? And some researchers mishear or misunderstand the saying or the explanations by the site people, and erroneous data are made. So if the databases are open to the original site people, then the original site people can point out, this is not good, all right? So consequently, the data, the grade of the data becomes up, all right? So this is upgrading the information. All right. I'm always thinking that the researcher is not a perfect, all right? Even the researchers may make many mistakes during his research works. And sometimes other people or other general public may have the knowledge, much more correct knowledge, all right? So using a forum, we can collect many kinds of informations or experiences. Then we can get much more correct informations inside the databases. So this is the one effect of the forum type database. And fourth effect is cultural restoration or creation at the site. Sometimes the ethnic culture has disappeared over these 40 or 50 years. And our MINPAKU collects 40 years before ethnic events or making some artifacts. For example, as you know, in Japan, there is an indigenous people called Ainu. And we asked Ainu people in 40 years before to making a dug-out canoe, wooden canoe. And they kept some technology at that moment. And we made a videotape to record the way how to make the dugout canoe. But nowadays, the Ainu people themselves forgot to make a dugout canoe technology. So the young generation of Ainu people are coming to MINPAKU and to look the recorded videotape and try to revive their traditional technology or culture. So the cultural resources are very useful to restoration or creation at a site. And also there is a big problem of repatriation. Do you know the term repatriation? As you know, in United Kingdom, the British museums collected many things from all over the world, from the Egypt, including a Rosetta Stone, or from Greek. Many things are sometimes stolen and kept in the United Kingdom. So some countries are now making a claim to get back our original things. So Greek or Egypt is now claiming to United Kingdom, British museums, to get back their several objects. So this is called the problem of repatriation. And one way of this repatriation is, I think, virtual repatriation. Ownership is repatriated, but developed country, like European side, is responsible for conservation. And this means that compared to England and Egypt, England is a much good condition for preservation or conservation of the objects because the temperature is low and humidity is low. So sometimes it could be better for keeping objects in European side compared to the tropical side, all right? So ownership must be returned, but the original object still kept in European side. This is one answer, sometimes called virtual repatriation. But another answer is that resources are repatriated. The object must be returned. Object itself must be returned. And then the developed country, like a European side, is responsible for conservation at the site. So this is another answer. The fifth effect is a shift from construction of intellectual database to discovery of human wisdoms. As I said, many human activities are collected, and then we know each other, then we can get another new wisdoms from the other countries. For example, we are facing to the lack of the water, drinkable water in near future. And then we can get a knowledge or experience from other ethnic groups. Yeah, it might be. So many informations are collected, and searching them, then we can find the new wisdoms, all right? So this could be a treasury of human wisdoms. And sixth effect is a fusion of the humanities and the natural sciences. In Japan, especially, the human sciences and the natural sciences are so separated. There is a big gap between two fields. But if we collect many things, then they are very useful for both sides, humanity and the natural sciences. I like to give you one example. Around the time of 1070 in AD, there was a big supernova explosion. So they say around 1 week, even in the midday, the star could be seen. The trace of the big explosion is now visible as a nebula of the cloud. Nebula of cloud. And this big event is recorded in many areas in the world. Of course, it's a very big event. So in Japan, there is some diary. Within the diary, the big event is given. And also in China, there is a very old literature. There is a record. And in North American people, they have no character systems, but they draw on the rock wall, rock carving. They kept the recording. So there are so many recordings. Then we can cross-check the many records. Then we can get new findings. It's beyond the humanities and the natural sciences, all right? So if we got many things, we can make a fusion of the humanities and natural sciences, all right? But to establish or realize such kind of forum type management, we need several new thinking. One is the needs of literacy in cultural resource management, because within the cultural resources, there are so many kinds of data, from the archaeology to literature or other natural science, many kinds. So, and also, so we have to establish our literacy for managing such cultural resources, variety of cultural resources. And another is the needs of archivists specializing in each specific areas. Some areas, for example, some areas mainly deal with very old paper materials, and other fields must deal with objects made by fabric or something. So the archivist needs to know how to manage such real objects with less damaging to the objects. And the third point is the sustainable conservation of both tangible and intangible cultural resources. Once some cultural resources are made into digital, then we have to migrate data. I mean, copying and every time of the change of data format and storing media. As you know, the change of the storage media is so fast. I used to use paper tape for inputting the data to the mainframe computer. Then the media is changed to large size floppy disk, sometimes called diskette. Some people are still knows the old-fashioned medias. And then they changed to a small size floppy disk. And in some time, optical disks are becomes very popular, but firstly vanished. And nowadays, USB memories are only very, very usable ones. So the media is changing very rapidly, and also data format itself is changing very rapidly, especially in the data format for the digital video. So if we get into the world of the digital, we have to mind about the data migration, which requires big money and big stuff forever. Okay. And the fourth point is the balance between protection of rights and the sharing of them. The protection of the rights of the cultural resources are sometimes against the sharing. Okay, so we have to keep in mind how to make the big balance between protection and sharing. And there is a big issue around pro-patent versus public domain, or, as you know, one movement is a Creative Commons, all right? And also we have to take consideration non-Western concept of rights and Western side concept. There is a big difference between the Western side concept and the non-Western side concept. I call it cultural moral rights. For example, I used to be a computer scientist, but I shifted to a little bit cultural anthropologist, and I really made a field work in Australian Aboriginal Society, and several times I researched in their fields. And I know that in Australian Aboriginal Society, once a person has passed away, the face or portrait of the dead person cannot be exposed anymore. This is the rule in Australian Aboriginal Society. So we have to very careful to open the pictures of the Australian people. We kept many pictures or image databases in our MINPAKU showing the Aboriginal people's face. So they might not be opened using the internet. So we have to keep in mind there are other kind of concept of cultural properties. And also balance between cost and performance. So making many big systems requires a big cost. So we have to keep in mind every time the balance. And another, this is a little bit duplication of the former slides, so I will skip here. And this is a very sacred object in Australian Aboriginal Society, and we have we cannot open these pictures, even in this lecture. These pictures cannot be open to other societies' people. And this is our new project based on the concept of forum type information management or database management. MINPAKU is now planning to establish such kind of systems. A little bit complicated, but many areas MINPAKU has made some contract with the research institute and collect many informations or objects in collaborative manner. And inside the MINPAKU, data with multilingualization means we have to make comments or notations or captions not only in Japanese, but also at least English, and also the original site languages. All right? So we have to make 3 languages annotations for each object. If such kind of data are made, then such kind of data could be checked by the original site people. And adjustments based on the intellectual property, which means that there are so many type of non-Western concept of cultural properties, so we have to keep the most moderate or proper level of opening. For some informations which cannot be open to the general public, but only restricted people or authorized people could access. Such kind of mechanism must be provided. And then such kind of project data are collected, and they are used by many peoples, education or local people or general public or researchers or students or other sectors like companies or administrative offices or other journalists or everything. And they can use, and also they can upload their new findings or new already known knowledge to these databases. All right? The forum type is sharing, not only a sharing, but also co-creation. Databases are upgraded with many researchers and general public and site people and other sectors people. Then the databases could become much more usable for all the humans. All right? So this is the final goal of our very ideal form of the database or forum type databases. And another big issue is how to make a cross-search between databases. So there are many kind of cross-search systems. Oh, sorry. And this is a very interesting forum type databases. Example of forum type database. It's already established by the National Museum of Nature and Science in Tokyo, and they opened a new databases about the fish. All right? Then they make image database of the fish. But as you know, there are so many amateur diver in the world, and the diver uses sometimes aqua camera and takes a picture of the fishes, all right? And they can upload the fish picture of the fishes on these databases. So by collecting many data, the database tells us what kind of species are distributing, and the change of the distribution could be found out. So it's related directly to the ecosystems or ecology or environment of Earth. Okay, so this is a very unique and very useful forum type database already given. And this is another type forum type database is British Columbia University in United States started database with the Native American people about the collection of their artifacts. Another is Pitt Rivers Museum in Oxford University opened photo database of Tibet and asking Tibetan people to add and modify existing information. This is also another example of the forum type database. Then, okay, so I have only 5 minutes left. Oh no. Okay, I will just make a brief like a cross-searching database is a big issue from over 30 years, and in the world of the library, they are making many big new technologies to make a standard protocol or database format to enable the cross-search. And there may be many standardization protocols and techniques and softwares are done already. Many of them are familiar with you, so I will skip. I classify the cross-search mechanism into 3 types: centralized clearinghouse or decentralized cross-search. Centralized is also subdivided into passive clearinghouse and active clearinghouse. And decentralized. There may be 3 types of cross-search systems, and there may be many examples relating these ones. And one idea of making a cross-search is to adjust the differences between the metadata of each databases. One is filtering of one metadata representation into, or filtering or mapping to other kind of metadata representations. We already tried to this one, and we established cross-search systems inside our colleague institutions, which is called National Institutes for the Humanities. You can access by the internet and access to the cross-search systems. I will skip. And the final system is based on my idea, archives with a zoom in and zoom out mechanism. Any kind of archives could be indexed by space and time and themes, all right? And space terms must be macro to micro names, or time is also macro and micros, and thematic details or very general terms. There may be many kinds or variety of databases relating to the target area, and sometimes micro level database and the macro level database could not be combined together. And for example, this idea is coming from my notion that cultural anthropologists or researchers are working fieldwork in each field, very micro level contact to the individual humans. But compared to that, for example, sociologists or economists are treating the humans with the mass. They have no interest in each individual person. They treat only a mass. So these 2 fields, sociologists and cultural anthropologists, dislike each other. Sometimes they are fighting each other. But from other side, people like me, it's not good. Just combine zoom, micro and macro, and sometimes we have to zoom in and zoom out. So archives may combine such kind of zoom in and zoom out mechanisms, then any kind of informations are archived inside this kind of databases. And also, another idea is archiving with time and space and theme. Using 3 axes, we can make a 3-dimensional spaces, and we can place any kinds of data inside these spaces. Then we can analyze. For example, one event in climate change. For example, if there is a big drought, then the farming is becoming becomes poor. And then, so the climate infects in the agriculture. And agriculture infects the policy. Yeah, in this case, I imagine the Australian Aboriginal people. The agriculture try to expand their areas into the Aboriginal people, and if the climate becomes less rainfalls, then the Aboriginal people must seek the water holes into the European farms. Then they became fighting each other. Then the political judgment will try to separate these peoples and make a new law. So every phenomena or every events are correlating each other like these arrows. So if any kind of archives are spaced in these 3-dimensional spaces, we can find out. For example, using this plane, it is a projection onto space by theme. Space by theme. And this is a projection on time and theme. Then they could be used like that. Then this is a kind of thematic maps. And this plane is a kind of thematic chronicles. If we combine these 2-dimensional visualizations, we can get some insight about the correlations of any kind of events. And one example is a map, and another example is a timeline. So I like to show you some example of the this is a theme and the time of the, and this is a zoom in and zoom out mechanism. This has so if we expand the time, we can see this data is coming from some chronicle in Yunnan areas in China, and this is some rainfall data. So such kind of any kind of data is arranged in the timelines, and timeline itself could be expandable. So using these representation or visualization, we can get a new idea or new phenomena or new cause and effect relations. And this time base is based on the Julian date systems, which can represent any time in any area in the world, and could be back to the, for example, at the time of the Big Bang. Any time is represented with the one single form of Julian time date system. Okay, so this is the one example. Oh, I already over my time. Okay. So, I like to show you another one example, which I made a name, cychronicle. Cychronicle is a combination of cyclic chronicle. Because a chronicle is sometimes a one direction timeline, but there may be many cyclic events in the world. For example, we have a season, and also we have many seasonal calendar. So if we make one line chronicle into cycle by folding to find out some cyclic point, then we can get a fishery calendar or agricultural calendar or annual event calendar, all right? And these calendar could be multi-layered, and to make check differences between among that. For example, if we rotate the starting point and other ones, then we can find then we may find out the differences is coming from the change of the climate or the change of the ethnic customs or other reasons. All right. So, if we can find out, or if we can make some technological support, we can make a cycle chronicles. But it's still the talking level, not yet realized. All right. So, okay. So I'll skip the last slide. Sorry, already over my time. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you all very much for the presentation ขอขอบพระคุณศาสตราจารย์เกียรติคุณมาซาโตชิคุโบะมากค่ะ